So what's the flip side? The flip side is that are we going to take a risk of arson, loot, violence spreading, possible misuse of that very powerful instrument that we all have in our hands by antisocial elements? And I think if you are one who wants to spread unrest and unease, then I think it's the right time for regulation and for the state to step in to ensure that doesn't happen.
So we've talked so much about the telecom revolution. You've spoken about, how it's going forward. Why do we have so many internet shutdowns, Minister? So whether it is in Manipur, it is Bhima Koregaon, it is Hubli, it is Kashmir, of course.
So let me say this, Vandita ji, that I think first of all, if you look at the number of internet shutdowns, that delta has actually fallen. Having said that, I think it's very important to balance, as I mentioned before in our discussion, the possible misuse of that very powerful instrument that we all have in our hands by antisocial elements. And I think if you are one who wants to spread unrest and unease, then I think it's the right time for regulation and for the state to step in to ensure that doesn't happen. If you look at the process that has been put in place today, it's a very regimented process to be able to put in place an internet shutdown. So either someone at the level of the state chief secretary or the home secretary has to be involved. The collector, the SP has to issue that order. In the event that I cannot consult you before I put that in order in place because the situation is really getting out of hand, then within 24 hours, I have to place that issue before a review committee at the state level or at the central level to make sure that it is accepted that that order needs to be in place. There is a review committee mechanism that looks at this every 4 to 6 days. And the maximum that you can have that in place at the very longest is a period of 15 days. So, and it's used in very sparingly, but when it is used, it is at the uh, understanding and judicious decision making of the state government authority, whoever it may be, or the central government authority, if it is a UT.
You spoke of regulation. Isn't a shutdown a breakdown of regulation?
No,
If I
it's
can
not.
just add to,
No, it's not, because so what's the flip side? The flip side is that are we going to take a risk of arson, loot, violence spreading? And that judicious decision at the end of the day has to be taken by the government.
if I could just add on to that, there was a suggestion in one of the consultation papers by TRA on this subject that today internet is not used only for, like, say, WhatsApp messages or social media access, which generally creates law and order, but it's also used for, say, mobile banking, buying groceries, e-commerce, quick commerce, and everything. So, is there a way they were suggesting? I don't know whether it's technically feasible or not to segregate where the access to social media, uh, etc., is stopped whenever shutdown is there, but internet banking and these kind of activities can still continue.
See, it's a very fine line. I don't think technology really, I'm not an engineer by background, so I wouldn't want to profess to know the technical answer to your question. But as I see it, I think it's a very fine line, and it's not easy to say that I'll switch off these applications and keep these running. Because the minute you keep the others running, there are ways and means that people get around it to use it negatively. So, as possible as it is to use things positively, so is it easy to use it negatively as well.